In 1980, a man named Dennis Hope was going through some hard times. He was broke and in the middle of a divorce. One night, he looked up to the sky, saw the moon, and had an idea. He did some research which led him to the 1967 Outer Space Treaty. This treaty essentially serves as the foundation of space law and bars the placing of weapons of mass destruction in orbit of the Earth, on the moon, or any other celestial body, while also prohibiting any weapons testing or military maneuvers of any kind in outer space. However, the key piece of information that Dennis Hope found was buried in Article 2. Article 2 states that outer space is not subject to national appropriation by claim of sovereignty or by any other means. So basically, no country can own outer space. But Hope noticed that the treaty didn't say anything about individuals owning property in space, and thought of a way to capitalize on this fact. He wrote out a declaration of ownership to the United Nations, as well as the governments of the United States and Soviet Union, claiming all of the planets in the solar system, along with their moons, with the intention of subdividing them and selling the property to anybody who wanted it. In the letter, Hope said that if the United Nations had any legal objection to this, then they needed to contact him. Unsurprisingly, Hope's declaration of ownership was ignored, which Hope took as legal validation of his claim. Hope subsequently founded the Lunar Embassy and began selling off plots of land to anyone interested in owning a piece of space. By 1995, outer space real estate was Hope's full-time job. In 1996, Hope received a letter from a German pensioner from Westphalia named Martin Jurgens. Jurgens stated simply, "The moon belongs to my family since July 15, 1756. King Frederick the Great may best be known for navigating the Prussians through the 7 Years' War, but another fact about the old Fritz is that he claimed ownership of the skies, including the moon. Frederick was stricken with gout throughout much of his adult life, and he would often visit a farmer in the north named Owl Jurgens, who was said to have been blessed as a healer. Frederick was so grateful to Jurgens for his help throughout the war that, as a gift, he gave him the moon. Frederick even had a deed written to make it official, leaving the moon to be passed down the Jurgens family for generations, until eventually landing with Martin. Indignant over the fact that Dennis Hope was profiting off of his family's property, Martin Jurgens went to his government in hopes of invalidating Hope's lunar embassy. In January of 1997, the Institute of Air and Space Law in Cologne determined that Frederick the Great never owned the moon in the first place, and thus the title deed given to the Jurgens family was invalid. Although this was a major blow to Martin Jurgens' case, it simultaneously invalidated Dennis Hope's claims of ownership and ability to sell plots of land on the moon. But Hope continued selling, and people continued buying. In 2001, Hope founded a democratic republic nation called the Galactic government to protect all of the celestial property that he had claimed. A constitution was drafted and ratified in March of 2004, at which point the company had 3.7 million property owners. Little did Hope know, another celestial nation had already been in existence. James Thomas Mangan of Evergreen Park, Illinois, was known as an eccentric public relations man, a best-selling author, and the proud owner of outer space. A man ahead of his time, Mangan registered a claim of ownership of outer space with the Recorder of Deeds and Titles in Cook County, Illinois, on January 1, 1949, 8 years prior to the launch of Sputnik. Mangan proclaimed outer space the nation of celestial space, or Celestia for short, on behalf of all of humanity. His goal was not to colonize or conquer, but to instead ensure that outer space was free from political hegemony. He also sought to ban the use of outer space for nuclear testing, a concern that would be echoed in the aforementioned Outer Space Treaty of 1967. Once the United States and Soviet Union began launching objects and humans into his territory, Mangan began sending angry letters to the leaders of the respective nations, claiming that they were trespassing on property of Celestia. Mangan would eventually ease up on his claims of trespassing and even issued passports to astronauts, including John Glenn and Gene Cernan, the last man to walk on the moon. To this day, stamp and coin collectors keep a sharp eye out for Nation of Celestial Space stamps and gold celestions, the currency of Celestia. James Thomas Mangan passed away in 1970, and the Nation of Celestial Space seems to have died with him. That's likely why Dennis Hope did not receive an angry letter from Celestia when he began selling space real estate 10 years later. Hope continues to operate the Lunar Embassy and Galactic government and sells extraterrestrial real estate to this day. As of 2013, the Lunar Embassy had sold 611 million acres of land on the moon, 325 million acres on Mars, and a combined 125 million acres on Venus, Io, and Mercury. But now there's a new space nation emerging that could compete with Dennis Hope and his real estate claims. But that's a topic for a future video. Whether or not Dennis Hope, King Frederick the Great, the Jurgens family, or Celestia own outer space has never really mattered on the world stage. But with Earthlings nearing the event horizon of commercial space travel, decisions of who owns what in space could become all the more pressing. But as far as the Lunar Embassy and Galactic government are concerned, any extraterrestrial real estate transactions will have to go through them. Which planet would you like to buy property on? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, chances are you'd like some of our other videos, so be sure to check those out, and click the subscribe button so you never miss any future videos. Thanks for watching.